You paid $37,000 in realtor fees, and you never once asked what that number was for. Last March, I sat at a kitchen table in a ranch house off Manchaca Road. The seller had her old closing statement out. $620,000 sale, $37,200 gone to commission. She wanted to know how to pay less this time. I didn't look at the commission line. I looked at the paperwork underneath it. Her listing agreement ran 12 months, not 90 days, 12. There was no cap on the protection period, which meant the agent could still claim a fee months after the contract died. The buyer's agent pay was folded into one number instead of written out separately. And the listing itself went live on a Thursday afternoon with 8 photos taken on somebody's phone. That's what I noticed, not the fee, because the fee wasn't the problem. The problem was signed 30 days before the sign ever went in her yard. By the time she was arguing about 6%, the negotiating was finished. She just didn't know it had happened. Here's what everybody carries around. 6% is standard. You've heard it your whole life. Nobody taught you where the number came from. You didn't learn it. You absorbed it, the way you absorb a rumor, and now you repeat it like a fact. So sellers do one of two things. They accept the number and feel small, or they try to talk it down at the kitchen table, which is the worst possible moment to negotiate anything, because at that moment, the agent has all the information and you have none. Then come the workarounds. Full service brokerage, 5 or 6%. On a $500,000 house, that's $25,000 to $30,000. Flat fee listing services for a few hundred, where you save on the front end and lose on pricing and negotiation. The instant offer companies, 5% in service fees before they start deducting after inspection. Discount brokerages at 1 or 2%, which are real savings, but only if your house is ready to sell fast. 4 different doors, same house behind every one of them, a house you haven't prepared. That's the trap. A weak listing costs you more than any rate ever will. And there's something else. Since 2024, buyer's agent pay is no longer automatically bundled into your listing. That changes what you're allowed to negotiate. Almost nobody who sold a house last year knew it. Now sit with this. There's a 30-day window before you sign anything. What you do in that window decides whether commission is a fee you pay or a discount you earn. The houses I've listed that sold above asking in under 2 weeks weren't better houses. Same neighborhoods, same square footage. The sellers just did 4 things in the month before the sign went up. Every one of those 4 things was free or cost under $500. I'm Ethan Cole. I've sold and managed property around Austin for 15 years. I didn't learn this from a class. I learned it from the broker who trained me, a woman named Dolores Reyna who ran a small shop on South Congress for 31 years. My first week, she told me, the commission conversation is decided in the seller's garage, not in my office. She never quoted a rate until she'd walked a house twice. It took me 4 years to understand what she meant. So here it is. 4 moves, 1 month, none of them more than $500, all of them doable on weekends. Do then, and the number on that closing statement moves. But the 4 moves aren't really the lesson. The lesson is that the 6% everyone argues about is not where your money goes. Your money goes into the one part of this you are told to leave to the professionals. Start with what commission actually is, because almost nobody knows. It isn't a law. There's no government rate. 6% is a number 2 large brokerages settled on decades ago and everyone else copied. That's the whole origin story. For most of that history, the seller paid 1 fee and it's split in 2. Half to the agent who listed the house, half to the agent who brought the buyer. Then in 2024, the National Association of Realtors settled a lawsuit, and that changed. Buyer's agent pay can no longer be advertised on the MLS. In plain terms, there are now 2 numbers instead of 1. You can move both. And what does the listing agent give you for that money? Pricing, access to the MLS, photography, showing coordination, negotiation, then the paperwork from contract to closing. Look at that list. Some of it you can do yourself. Some of it you can't. So the question was never how low will you go? The question is, how much of this have I already handled before I walked in the door? That's the whole month. First week, build the comp file before you speak to a single agent. Pull every house sold within half a mile in the last 90 days. It's free. Your county appraisal district publishes it. Redfin and Zillow will let you filter by sold. Write down 5 columns: address, sold price, list price, days on market, price per square foot. Ignore active listings completely. Active listings are asking prices. Asking prices are opinions. Somebody woke up and decided their house was worth $495. That's not data. Sold prices are what a stranger actually paid. Now watch the gap between list and sold. In a slow market, that gap widens. In a hot one, it flips and houses go over. 2 minutes of arithmetic and you know which market you're standing in. Here's why it matters. When an agent hands you a listing price, you'll know immediately whether it's real. If someone prices your house 8% above every comp on that street, that agent is not confident in your house. They're confident you'll agree to a price cut in 6 weeks. It's called buying the listing. I've watched people do it for 15 years. And when you know your number, you can trade. You can say, I'll take your price if you'll give me a 90-day agreement. The rate hasn't moved. The risk has. Second week, fix the 5 things a camera punishes. Days on market is the expense nobody prints on a closing statement. Every extra 30 days is another mortgage payment, another month of taxes, insurance, and utilities, and one more buyer wondering what's wrong with it. 5 fixes, ranked by what you get back per dollar. Light. Replace every bulb in the house so they're all the same color temperature. $40. Mismatched bulbs read as neglect in a photograph, and the person scrolling can't tell you why. The front door, paint it, touch up the trim, under $60. That door is in the lead photo, and it's the first thing a buyer physically touches. Depersonalize, not declutter. Different things. Take down the photographs, the mail, the medications, the religious items. It costs nothing. A buyer who cannot picture himself living there will not bid. Deep clean grout, glass, and vent covers. $30 in supplies, $200 if you hire it. These photograph gray, and gray reads as dirty. Edge the yard. Free. A crisp line along the driveway says maintained more convincingly than new sod. Now what not to do. Do not remodel the kitchen. Do not remodel the bathroom. Do not lay new flooring in the last month before listing. You'll get back well under 60 cents on the dollar, and you'll delay the listing while you do it. A house that shows well sells fast, and a fast sale is worth more to a listing agent than a higher percentage. That's the sentence to say out loud in the room. Third week, get the inspection before the buyer does. $350 to $500 in most Texas markets. It's the highest leverage $400 in this entire process, and I'll tell you exactly why. You find the failing water heater, the double-tapped breaker, the dryer venting into the attic. You find them before a buyer's inspector finds them and asks for $5,000 off the price. Then you fix the cheap ones. You disclose the expensive ones. Disclosed problems don't get renegotiated. Discovered problems do. That's the whole trick. Because here's what people miss. A buyer doesn't reduce his offer by the cost of the repair. He reduces it by the cost of the repair plus whatever he's afraid you're hiding. Fear is more expensive than the water heater. Fix anything unsafe, anything under $500, anything a lender will flag, meaning roof, foundation, HVAC, active leaks. Leave the rest and price it in. Now you're handing an agent a house with no surprises in it. That's a listing that closes. That's a listing worth taking at 4% instead of 6%. Fourth week, interview 3 agents, then negotiate, in order. 3, never 1. 1 agent is a price quote. 3 agents is a market. Bring the comp file, the receipts, and the inspection report to every meeting, and say nothing about commission for the first 20 minutes. Let them see the house first. Now the order matters more than anything I've told you. Length of the agreement. Ask for 90 days. Not 6 months, not 12. 90 days is the only real recourse a seller has, because it's the only way out. The protection period. Cap it at 30 days and require a written list of named buyers. Otherwise, that clause follows you around. The cancellation clause. Ask whether you can walk away without penalty. Get the answer on paper. Then, and only then, the listing side rate, because by now you've handed them a priced, prepped, inspected house. Then the buyer's agent offer as its own decision. Offering less can reduce showings. Offering nothing is legal, and in a tight market, it's sometimes smart. Know what you're choosing. Last, the exit ramp. What happens at day 90 if it hasn't sold? A rate reduction? New photographs? Get it in writing. In a normal market, for a house that's ready, 2 to 2.5% on the listing side is common. Every single percent on a $500,000 house is $5,000. That's what the month is worth. Here's the line. I've done the pricing, the prep, and the inspection. What's your rate for a listing that's ready to go? And here's what almost everyone does instead. They call the agent on the bus bench. They sign a 12-month exclusive at 6%. Then they start cleaning the garage. So the 6% was never the fight. The month before you sign is the fight. Comps, prep, inspection, 3 interviews, 4 weekends. I'll be straight with you. This doesn't make a house sell itself. A slow market is still a slow market, and no amount of preparation changes what buyers can afford. But leverage is the one thing you control, and you build it before anyone walks through your door. If this was useful, subscribe. I put out something like this every week, and tell me in the comments which of the 4 you've never done. The comps, the prep, the inspection, or the 3 interviews. I read them. Next time, the 30 days after you sign, and where sellers quietly lose money at the closing table.